ensure that these candidates are properly ranked for everybody to see. And in our office, we have what we call desk officers. So monitor each university, tertiary institution has a desk officer. And the essence of the desk officers is to ensure that no candidate is shortchanged, cheated, or denied of his particular opportunity. And this candidate in Calabar, by the time we went into the system, we discovered that he was number 300. And the university was admit only 80. That way you can see that he stands no chance on all the three flanks of admission. The just candidate we invited, in fact the Calabar candidate we also invited, but he has not come. But the just candidate, we invited the father and the candidate, and they came. And we showed them, and he apologized. Because when you sit down in your own cocoon, you would think that you scored 300 is a big score and all this, but you'll be shocked that you're 320, 310. You may even be number 300 in a particular program in particular institution, depending on the subscription level of that particular institution. So it is not for you to stay somewhere and say, yes, I scored 300 and I've not been admitted. It's possible, it's likely that you could score 300 and you will not be admitted, especially if you want, for instance, you want to read medicine in University of Ibadan and you score 320. Chances are that you may be number 300 on the ranking order or on the parking order, as they may want to call it. And if you're number 300, maybe the program, the carrying capacity of the program is just about 120, 150 of the other part. You stand no chance of being admitted. Because between 320 and 330, you can have 70 candidates. Maybe 10 scoring 321, another 20 scoring 322, another 30 scoring 323, and so like that. So we are careful when we rank candidates. But you see, when you sit down somewhere and look at the score of 320, yes, it's a beautiful score, it's a high score. But by the time you aggregate it, you put it on the global scale with other scores, you will discover that this is where you stand. So it is not, the public should not be surprised when they see that a candidate of 320 is not admitted, and then should stop insinuating all manner of things. First of all, check, we have created what we call a ticketing platform. Once you have a situation like that and you are in doubt, you can send us a ticket that you have scored a particular score and then you are not given admission. We'll open the system, we'll show you where you're ranking, where you stand, and stuff like that. But if in any case you have reason, you have a case, we check and then you are supposed to be admitted or not, we insist that the institution should admit you, because that is one of the reasons why we exist.
What you said is interesting, but then in the situation where maybe a person is like really low on the pecking order for candidates who scored a 320 and more, what then happens to those individuals? Because with a score as high as that, I mean, the hopes would be that I should get an admission. So what options do they have?
What institution do is that, for instance, I want to read medicine in University of Ibadan and score 320 or 330, and I'm not admitted based on the ranking order. The institution will give you, make an offer to you. You want medicine, but you can't get medicine because of the competitive nature of medicine. The institution could make an offer, say, look, we've checked or we've discovered that you're a high-scoring candidate, but you cannot get medicine. Will you take anatomy? Will you take physiology? They'll make this offer to you. But in most cases, this candidate, they turn this offer down. If you accept, because what we ensure is that we don't want candidates to be forced into programs that they don't want to read. Until you accept that offer before the university will now approve and complete the process.
All right. Well said. Let me remind the listener, I'm speaking with the spokesperson for JAMB, Dr. Fabian Benjamin. We were discussing JAMB registration, and we're just also right now addressing the admission issues and processes involved in how some of these institutions, go about their admissions in collaboration with JAMB. So if you have questions, perhaps as it concerns the registration, let us know. You can use the WhatsApp number 0809 030 6416. We're also live on Facebook at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. We are live on YouTube at Nigeria Info PH. On X, it is Nigeria Info PH. So on any of these platforms, get across to us, send in your questions. We would also be opening the phone lines so you get the opportunity to call in and ask questions. And I'm pretty sure you would get response from Dr. Benjamin. Before we go on a commercial, Doc, one more question I'd like to ask. For the JAMB registration, how much does it cost for the form? And are there other payments that candidates would have to make aside purchase of the form?
No. We run what we call a cashless policy. The candidate is not supposed to pay 1 naira at the center. There are 3 categories of forms. Let me say 4. The first one is that you want to register for JAMB, for UTME, what they call JAMB UTME, without mock. I just want to write the exam, get admission. I don't want any more. It's 7,200. This 7,000, the cost of the registration, the form itself is 3,500. Then you have 1,000 naira for the reading test that we give candidate for you to go and read to ensure that we promote reading culture and stuff like that. There are 10 questions that will come from that reading test. It's 1,000. Then you have 1,500 naira for the examination, the use of the CBT that is going to be paid to the CBT center. You have another 700 naira that is also for registration, the cost of the registration that is going to register, which is also going to be paid to the CBT center. By the time you aggregate all these costs, then you have a 500 naira, which is the bank charges and all this. You aggregate these costs, you arrive at 7,200 naira for UTME without mock. Then if you want to do UTME with mock, there's another additional cost of 1,500 for the mock, which makes it 8,200. Then if you're a direct entry candidate, you're not going to write exam, you're not going to do mock, it's only direct entry, you're going to pay 5,700. That's including the cost of reading test, registration at the CBT center, and then the 3,500 for the form. Then for those underage, or some candidates, who for one reason or the other, they don't desire admission this year, but they just want to have a hand on the system. They want to have an experience of the CBT environment. You just want to write the mock examination only. You pay 3,500 for only mock. The 3,500 naira includes the registration at the center, and then the cost of the pay to the CBT center.
Well put. All right, we'll take a very short commercial now, Doc. And when we come back, we'll open the phone lines and several more questions that we'll have to ask to follow up on what you've already said. I'm pretty sure you heard the spokesperson clearly. A short commercial. When we return, you get the opportunity to call and ask your questions. In the meantime, let us know if you're having any challenges. Facebook at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH.
Nigeria Info. We'll be right back.
My name is Ifeemi Andrew. Conversation continues. We still have Dr. Fabian Benjamin, a spokesperson for JAMB, with us on the phone. Doc, thank you for staying on the line for us.
Thank you. You're welcome.
All right. Now, if you are listening and you have questions, now would be perfect time to ask those questions. You can get across to us using the WhatsApp number 0809-030-6416. Again, 0809-030-6416. You can also call us on 0817-923-0002. 0817-923-0002 or 0817-923-0003. On Facebook at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. We are streaming live, so you can also drop your questions there. We'll take as much as we can. This one says, does quota system play any role in the admission, particularly in the competitive course, despite scoring high in JAMB and post-UTME? Daddy K is asking that question. Doc?
There is nothing like quota system. I don't know what you mean by quota system. But if it is the quota system, I know that people refer to, quota system does not play any role in admission. There are three flanks of admission that we do. One is merit, which is 45%. And what that means is that for the capacity of that particular program, 45% of them will be on merit, purely merit. Then the second one is what they call catchment. Universities are localized. Every federal university in Nigeria is localized. Localized in the sense that there are states that are in catchment area. And those states, the slot that is meant for catchment area, which is 35%, if it is 100, 35% of those candidates will be shared among those states. And in those states, they will pick the best in those particular states. For instance, ABU, the 19 northern states are the catchment area of ABU's area. After the 45% merit that is blind, anybody from anywhere can come in. The 35% is for those catchment area, 19 northern states. If the state is 100, 35 is 35% of 100. That 35% will be shared to the 19 northern states. Let's take, for instance, 2 by each state. Then when you come to the state, for instance, Benue, you look at the list. If a candidate, so for instance, he wants to read medicine and he scored 320, and the merit stopped at 319, then automatically he will enter under the catchment area by the time they come. So the best two in that particular state will be picked on the catchment area. Then the next one is what we call the educationally less disadvantaged states. There are states that are disadvantaged educationally. They are given 20%, and 20% of 100 is 20. And it will be shared among those states. So this is affirmative action and all those things, just as it's done in any other place. So there's nothing, when you say quota system, the way Nigerians understand it is that the particular candidate for another state, even if he doesn't meet the merit, they will call him and give him no. For every program, there are minimum requirements. You must meet the minimum requirement. For instance, if you want to read medicine in UK Kano, you must score 250 and above. That is the minimum requirement that nobody should be admitted below. So competition will now set in. It doesn't mean that once you have the 250, then you are bound to be admitted. But for states that are considered educationally less disadvantaged, if those by percentage are shared to those states and nobody scores up, the highest person in that state is 250. Hence, he has met the minimum requirement, he can be admitted.
Okay. All right, then. This one here says, my in-law for days now has been trying to create a profile code, but unfortunately, the response has been slow. Someone else used his NIM to register, hence he can't create his. We've tried calling the number and the person has insisted she has no business with JAMB. Unfortunately, we've gone to the Port Harcourt office and their response is that the line isn't opening and it's really frustrating. What do we do? This is from Mr. Dembo.
If somebody has used his NIN, the first place to go to is to go to NIMSI to find out the NIN, who has used the NIN. And if he's calling somebody, which means he knows the person that has used the NIN. So it's just like you have a BVN of your bank, and somebody has used your BVN to create an account. It's a fraudulent, it's a serious fraud. So you should first address that issue, because identity is very key. Identity is very important. And two persons cannot be lying claim to one identity. So it's something that even me, I won't advise that you should be registered until he's able to sort that issue out.
Okay. Let's go to the phone lines to take some calls now. 0817-923-0007. You can also call 0817-923-0003. Another message here says, my son is going to be 16 in April. He's writing his SSCE in May. Can he take this JAM and gain admission this year?
Yes, he can take.
All right.
Once you be 16 by 30th of September, you are qualified.
Okay, so IA, that's your name. You heard the doc. Doc says he can go ahead and take the exams. All right, Alozie from Omoma is on the line. Alozie, good morning. Let's hear your questions, please. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Fabian.
Go on.
Fabian, this JAMB verification code that the JAMB are generating, there are some JAMB applicants that is 15 and 17 years. And MTN, Glo, and Airtel, if you are not up to 18, they will not give you any number to register with them. Now, these applicants have their NAI name. Since they don't have a full number to dial the code to generate this JAMB profile code, most of them are being denied because of that profile code. I'm asking the spokesperson of JAMB, in this scenario now, for those of them who are not up to 18, to have a full number, who have NAI that is finding it difficult to generate their JAMB profile code, what is JAMB doing in their own case?
All right, Alozie, thank you for the question.
The candidate can use his father. I also have a child that is up to 18, and she has registered for JAMB. She used her mother's phone. I have a phone. The mother has a phone. You can use either the mother or the father. But in any case, we had an understanding with the telcos, and there's something we are even doing that we call it keep my number. And there's another thing that we're also doing that we've also talked to them to ensure that this candidate can be given this thing for registration. We call it registration only SIM. And don't forget that there is no law that restricts a father from having 3 or 4 SIMs. Some people have 2 forms, 3 forms. You can even buy a SIM card for the candidate in your own name, but the candidate will use it for the exercise. What we insist is that not one SIM should be registered to candidates. So there are so many ways that you can get SIM. That should not be an excuse for a candidate not to register for the exercise.
All right. Alozie, I hope you heard that. Importantly, one SIM should not be used for more than a candidate. So we are clear on that. Magnus from Mount 3, good morning.
Morning. Yes, good morning, Andrew.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I agree with your online guest. Quickly, I think over time, the issue of JAMB registration has been a problem. And I am thinking a way forward. I want to ask your guest, is there no way that there could be maybe a unified registration, or we can just register on your mobile phone from your comfort zone? You don't need to go from center A, from center B, and be struggling, in a cyber cafe. It is very important that JAMB can modernize their registration process, that you can actually register on your mobile phone. It is very simple. You develop the app, and the students who want to, write JAMB, particularly, can just register straight from their phone, and all the requirements will be on the website. And all these things will be stress-free. And secondly, I think, during writing this JAMB, a lot of issues, and you see, system errors and here and there. There are ways that JAMB can, fix these things so that students will be struggling when they want to register as they're writing the JAMB. Thank you so much, Andrew.
All right, Magnus, thank you very much.
Yes, it is possible to register with your phone, to sit down in your bedroom to register, as long as Nigerians begin to behave in the way that we expect that they should behave. As long as criminality is eroded, as long as cyber crime is no longer there, as long as candidates are not ready to impersonate, as long as candidates are not ready to cheat, as long as parents are also not desperate to ensure that they begin to employ all manner of tactics for them to commit what manner of examination infraction. Malpractices actually start from the registration exercise. By the time you open the gate in Nigeria for what this man is saying, I bet you will have so many people writing exams that they don't have business writing those examinations. If you go to Netherlands, we don't operate in isolation. We have what we call Association for International Assessment. We have the African branch of it. And you go there, we benchmark, we compare notes and all those things. You see how they run their systems. You go to the Netherlands, even the terminal exam, the WAEC, the NECO that we do here, they don't go to supervise the exam. They send the question to the principals of those schools. The principal administer those questions to the candidate in those schools, mark those scripts, and send them results, and then give the candidate. For instance, in Nigeria now, WAEC will just send results to Federal Government College, Obolafo. The principal of Bolafo will administer the exam on the candidate. He will mark the script and send the result to WAEC. WAEC will only issue certificate. But I bet you try it in Nigeria and see that principal will open shop somewhere and you'll be sending those questions. So when you have a system whereby the bird has learned to fly without pitching, the hunter will also learn to shoot without missing. And that is what the problem. We are technologically advanced enough to know that, look, you can do this thing and register them. That is what we introduced. If you look at what we do with the profile creation, you don't need to come to us. You just send your name to 55019 and your profile is created, your name and every identity. But you must come to our office to capture your biometrics, to capture your face, to know that this is the person that wants to write this exam and it's the same person that's coming to sit for the exam. We are doing that. Candidates are going through some of those places because of
So are you saying that those biometric processes is impossible to do that online? I mean, phones have cameras. You could develop apps.
You cannot do it online, because if you do it online and then you get there tomorrow and it's not able to verify, we will not be able to know where the problem came from. Because somebody will sit down somewhere. We've had a situation whereby somebody will come to our center and then he's not being verified. You say, oh, sorry, that it was my brother that I was not around. He just registered for me. So you have so many of those cases. And on that day, we will now be running helter-skelter. The exam will be delayed. And this candidate you ask, some of them will not even tell you the truth. He will tell you that he did it himself and stuff like that. So you must come for us to do it for you. And even on the split, the person that is verifying you, his name must be there, must know who actually captured you. So that in the event of challenges, we'll be able to trace where the problem is coming from.
All right. Braid in OGRA, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Straight to the question, please.
Yes, my question, the first question is this. If you have used your line for registration before, can you still, if maybe perhaps you did not get admission,
you can use it one
number for another registration? That's number one. Number two, why is it that after getting your cutoff and you get to the school, there will be another post-UMT, and JAMB also is part of it? I want the doc to put more light to that.
Thank you. All right, Doc.
The first question is that you can't use one thing for two candidates for whatever circumstance. One number per candidate.
All right, but can a candidate use a particular line more than once? Can the same candidate use the same line more than once?
You can use that line for the rest of your life.
Okay.
You can use that line to write exam 1 million times.
But
because once you send it, will give you the same profile code. The same profile code you have is the same profile code you'll be using forever. That is your identity. That is why it is called unique identifier.
Okay. But another candidate cannot use it.
Another candidate cannot use it.
Okay.
And for post-UTME, a university must also have a say in who comes to them, because they are the ones that are going to train this candidate. It will be an aberration to say that you are admitting candidate into university and university does not have an input into the admission. So they also have to screen the candidate to see that they are satisfied with who is coming into their institution. Because at the end of the day, if the candidate turns out to be a bad candidate, JAMB will not be blamed. It is the university that will be blamed. When people talk about the collapse of the system of education, they don't blame JAMB. They don't blame WAEC, NECO. They blame the tertiary institution. They blame government and all of that. So the institution must also have a hand in screening the candidate. But in any case, most institutions don't even do the post-UTME. They have absolute confidence in what we're doing, and they waive the post-UTME and all of that. But the rule is that a university, a tertiary institution must also have a hand in who comes to them.
Doesn't that put more work on? Doesn't that put more work on the students, on the candidates? Because now you can meet the JAMB requirement, and then you do not meet the post-UTME requirements. Aren't these requirements supposed to be of same standard?
No. None is superior. In fact, the JAMB requirement, if you look at the aggregation of the scores, the JAMB scores take 50% of the exercise. The post-UTME and your O-level result and all other things take 50%. That is in schools that are doing it. That's how some of them do. But there are schools whereby the JAMB requirement is 100%. But the institutions are allowed to have a say. But what we do is that before you do that, you must define the parameters, that this is what you are doing. And then we follow through in screening to ensure that the candidates are not shortchanged.
All right. Letambari, let's start with you in Bori. Good morning. All right, we lost the call from Letambari. We'll go to Temple. Temple, good morning.
Good morning, the very distinguished.
All right, go ahead with the question, please.
I think my question goes like this to your guest. For you to get access in terms of opening portal, there must be a code that should be sent to you or will be sent to you. And I have a brother and other persons that are close to me for more than 3 weeks now. They have been passing difficulties in accessing that code or that code being sent to them. So what other channel can they use in ensuring that they get this code that will enable them to open a portal? That is my own point. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Temple.
He's talking about creation of proper code. There are so many issues that could delay the creation of proper code. Some candidates just register for their name, and then that could also delay if the team is not integrated into the portal and all this thing. All you need is to go back to me to ensure that your integration is fast track so that you come into the database and all this thing for credit profile.
All right.
Some of them are using, and then some candidates, the phone they are using to send the request, they bought data and then they converted that data to some bundles. Because the network will have to deduct their money, their 15 naira. If you convert to bundle, it's as good as you don't have credit. So they will not be able to deduct. And once you're not able to deduct, transaction will not take place. If you check on our database, you see that they have not sent any message there. So you must also ensure that you have airtime, credit on your phone that you're using to send, not converting to bundle. You bought 200 naira credit, you converted to AWUF, you converted to all those things. You don't have data. So it won't go. So
all right. We don't really have time for more calls. We have more calls coming in. Queen is in Rumekini. Another caller on the line. Unfortunately, we're already out of time. We're just squeezing Queen. Queen, please make it short. Just quickly tell us what your question is, because we have other questions here on WhatsApp.
Okay, sir. Please, my question goes like this. Can I combine my WAEC and NECO results to get
yes, you can combine. 2 seconds is allowed.
Yep. He says, yes, you can.
Okay, sir.
All right, Queen, thank you. All right, messages on WhatsApp quickly. Violet, is that it? Violet Sport John says, my brother couldn't register for JAMB for the second time this year because he lost the SIM he used to generate his first code. What can we do, Lady V?
Well, we are working on something to ensure that such candidates. But your SIM card is unique identifier, and that explains why we even came with a policy: keep my SIM card, keep my number. That you go to MTN, you tell them that this number is for JAMB, they can keep it for you 3-4 years, and all those things. So it's just like you have lost your identity, because we in the course of time we've been able to address all examination infractions, all loopholes where candidates perpetrate examination infraction. The only platform loophole that was pertinent to address is the issue of impersonation. And these are areas that candidates come in.
But can the line be retrieved or something? Isn't it possible to retrieve the line?
Yes, that's why you can go to the network and then do welcome back. You have your line and you continue your life. But some of them will say, I went to MTN, I went to all these places, they can't give me the line, those kind of things. So we have to investigate to be sure that what you're telling us is true. And then we're coming up with a platform, with a system that can address such issues. But at the moment, we are very careful. We are very wary of candidates who come with such complaints.
All right, this one says, my question is, on the deadline of the current admission year, my daughter has been admitted by JAMB, and as a matter of fact, the admission letters and the original JAMB result has been printed, but she's not been shortlisted in the school's admission portal. Does JAMB give admission? I asked this question earlier.
There is nothing like that. There is nothing like being admitted by JAMB. It's just like you have an account. And then somebody say, bank has put money into my account, and I went there. I couldn't see the money. You are the ones that will put money into your account. Bank will not put money into your account. We created a platform we call CAPS, the Central Admission Processing System, CAPS. It's just like the stock market. All tertiary institutions perform the admission exercise on that platform. The only thing we do is approval. We don't give admission. In the institution, they have what they call the admission officer. The admission officer proposes the candidate to the head of the institution. It could be rector, provost, or vice chancellor. Then the vice chancellor recommends to them that this candidate, we have looked at them, they have met all our requirements. We are recommending this to the admission based on this particular requirement, if it is merit, if it is cardinal, all these things. And we look at it when we feel that the candidate is okay. Okay in the sense that we want to be sure that another candidate was not skilled for him to be given the admission. We want to be sure that he meets the O-level requirement. We want to be sure that all the parameters are okay. And we approve. The register of the JAMB approves. Once we approve, the admission letter is generated. So the candidate moves to the school. In fact, as a matter of fact, it is illegal for the school to even give a candidate admission letter. Because the only admission letter recognized by law is the JAMB admission letter. So there's nothing like...
So why is it called an admission letter if the person would not be admitted into the school if the school doesn't? Perhaps the nomenclature of that letter is what is causing the confusion.
The admission letter that the candidate should have is only the JAMB admission letter.
All right, we have to stop it there.
No other.
So thank you. So for this individual, they have to take JAMB again. That's what it means. Thank you very much. We'll wrap it up now.
And transform your business. Look no further. The Cracks is here.